1 hour later, Qinfeng stood on the second underground floor of the Evil Spirit Academy and came to the 8-armed thief saint. Asha President, it's an honor to meet you. The 8-armed thief saint saw Qinfeng, bowed slightly, and covered his 8 arms in front of him, looking very respectful to Qinfeng. There was no way. It was too nervous. The human player in front of it could kill it to half-blood at such an early stage. It had never heard of such an existence before. At first it thought it was an NPC coming to deal with it, but it turned out it was a player. Blue Star Civilization. So terrifying. However, Qinfeng obviously didn't feel anything about this guy. He just came to upgrade the skill of the Snatcher. After this harvest, Qinfeng had enough life to improve it. The 3 hideouts sold for a total of 395 years of life, excluding the share given to Zhang Jingxuan. My own income is 625, 25 years. The share that the Soul Painter girl got alone is 769, 75 years. It can be seen how huge this is. In addition, Giling has already taken that pile of useless equipment to trade with the Yunshan Inn Guild for 500 years. This girl donated her life directly to the guild after the transaction. It is equivalent to Qinfeng being able to use it at will. Then, Qinfeng packaged a batch of equipment below level 18 and sold it to Wanye Weiyu. These equipments are emerald grade, platinum grade, and many gold and silver grade. Altogether, it has sold for more than 12,000 years of life. This batch of equipment cannot be eaten by the ruins of the Demon City. It was only with the cooperation of several other urban areas that they were able to obtain so many in the future. They will probably choose to sell them to the officials of other cities and make a profit as a middleman. So, the official of Magic City will definitely not lose money. As for who loses money, that's up to each person. Finally, all these incomes added together made Qinfeng's tradable lifespan reach 31,000 years. Fortunately, there is the Will-o'-the-Wisp bell. Otherwise, it would be really hot to carry so many lifespans on your body. Qinfeng was quite emotional. With so many lifespans, if you die once, you will lose more than 15,000 years of lifespan. That lifespan light ball is probably as big as half a room. With the Will-o'-the-Wisp bell, the only thing Qinfeng needs to worry about is that after death, someone will use skills such as Flower Curse to extract lifespan from his corpse. But in fact, with Qinfeng's current strength, as long as he doesn't kill himself, he will never die. So, there is basically no need to consider similar situations. Soon, Qinfeng's attention returned to the skill column. It takes 200 years to upgrade the skill of the Robbery Saint from level 1 to level 2. It takes 300 years to upgrade from level 2 to level 3, and so on. Qinfeng knew that this skill could not be upgraded in other ways, and could only be upgraded by purchasing it from the 8-armed thief saint. After all, this is the racial inheritance skill of the Starry Sky Thieves, so this lifespan must be spent. For others, each upgrade of the Robbery Saint only steals 10 more attributes. But for Qinfeng, even if the current Robbery Saint skill has only evolved to the legendary level, every upgrade of 1 level can allow Qinfeng to steal 150 more attribute points, as long as the Robbery Saint is upgraded to level 20. A total of 3,000 attribute values can be stolen. The total cost is 900 years of life. Not bad. Upgrade. Qinfeng made a decision and directly chose to upgrade the Robbery Saint to level 20. The Thief Left Legendary. Required level 1 arrive 20. Permanently steal 1 arrive 3 random 4-dimensional attributes from the target. Cooldown 6-1. 28 hours. Attribute points gained through this skill. 5 of 75 arrive 5 of 1500. The Thief Do Legendary. 5 of 75 arrive of 1500. You have consumed 900 years of life. Your NPC subordinate, the thief William Scott, collected 900 years of life through the skill upgrade service. Based on the 50% tax rate, you have obtained 450 years of life, which has been deposited into the guild life pool. The guild life pool is where the guild stores life. However, players cannot actively deposit life into it. Only the life gained from the guild's tax will enter the guild life pool, and the life in the life pool is open to all guild members. In a normal guild, all life expenditures in the guild life pool will be announced to all guild members and must be approved by all guild members. Is vote. Of course, Qinfeng doesn't care here. He is the president and has the highest voting weight. The life of the guild is his life. 30,000 years of life, spent 20,000, and still have 20,000. I am really a math genius? Qinfeng smiled, and then looked at the evolved Stealing Master skill. Level 10 Stealing Master. Each attack can steal 2 points of random attributes. Level 20 Stealing Master can steal 3 points of random attributes. The speed of attribute stealing is faster. According to Qinfeng's current cooling speed, it will take him a month to stack these 3,000 points of attributes. On average, at least 100 points of attributes can be stolen every day, and the growth is full. Later, 8,900 evolution points are needed to evolve this skill to the mythical level. Let's wait a little longer. Hanfeng decided that he still had to save 3,000 evolution points to evolve the Abyss Withering Curse again. See if the negative effects can be removed, then he can continue to get more Abyss Curse skills from the vase. Next, it is to continue to kill monsters and upgrade. After the Ghost Spirit has the Assassin Bloodline, the whole body attribute soared, and it also obtained 5 points of instant death affixes, and the efficiency of killing monsters soared, and Qinfeng is also planning to find a level 30 epic bloodline monster, Deathwing Angel, after level 30 to obtain his second bloodline. The probability of this bloodline monster appearing is not high, but it is very suitable for Qinfeng. However, it may not be so coincidental if you don't encounter it. There are some secondary options, which can also be used first, and then replaced when you encounter the Deathwing Angel later. The next day, early in the morning, Qinfeng killed a gold-level magic frog in a poisonous swamp more than 600 kilometers west of the ruins of the Magic City, and finally accumulated enough experience. The fourth career advancement, after accumulating experience for so long, it was finally achieved. Qinfeng opened the attribute panel, issued an order, and made career advancement. Your shadow career has been advanced. Current. Level 3 arrive level 4. Professional attribute bonus. Strength 54 arrive 108. Constitution 4 arrive 108. Agility 104 arrive 28. Spirit 90 arrive 1. Professional passive 2 is 2 stealth level. And the final stealth level is doubled. Professional passive 4. When you attack in stealth mode, you will not exit the stealth mode, and the stealth breaking attack will still be effective. New. When you attack in stealth mode, all attack effects will also be invisible and enjoy half the stealth level. This time, in addition to doubling the attribute bonus again, the professional advancement also has 2 passive enhancements. The final stealth level is doubled. Qinfeng originally had a stealth level of 28. Doesn't this mean a stealth level of 56? Although no one could see through his stealth, a higher stealth level can give him a higher stealth breaking attack. Just this one special effect doubled Qinfeng's stealth breaking attack from more than 10,000 to more than 20. And the most trembling thing is the enhancement of professional passive 4. When launching an attack in stealth mode, all attack special effects will also be invisible. This means Qinfeng Shadow Blade, Instant Shadow Slash, Blade Light, Poison Trap, and so on. All attacks all become invisible. In a sense, Qinfeng in stealth mode is almost like air. Finally, I have advanced for the 4th time. Next, I can save experience and rush to level 30. Qinfeng played with the 2 daggers in his hand and smiled. At level 30, you can open the second bloodline, and your combat power can soar again. For Qinfeng now, this upgrade process takes about a week. Just after a week, it is almost the time for the first spread of Wasteland. For Qinfeng, he is already prepared. After the spread of Wasteland, monsters will emerge in many areas around the world, and many areas will become violent areas with 100 times the life flow rate, which is no longer suitable for survival. Even most areas will become turbulent areas with 10 times the life flow rate. The most terrifying thing is, the life flow rate of the area where the player is in reality will be multiplied with the area where he is in the game. For example, if the player is in a violent area in reality, if he also enters the violent area in the game, that is 100 times multiplied by 100 times, which is equivalent to 10,000 times the life flow rate. The first time the wasteland spread, the habitable area for humans was directly reduced by half. About 15% of the land area became a violent area. Another 5% of the land area became a turbulent area. Although in the later stage, even the turbulent area with 10 times the life flow rate is already a very rare feng shui treasure land. But at this stage, players in those areas will definitely find a way to leave and go to the mild area with normal life flow rate. This is the first time that the chaos has swept the world, even in the country of Daxia, which is known for its stability. Too many bloody conflicts have occurred because of this, and even the Daxia officials almost couldn't suppress it. Just one wasteland spread, and the living environment of mankind was compressed by half. The already precious land will be even more valuable. At that time, the real end of the world will begin, and because the turbulent area and the violent area will isolate modern communication facilities and electromagnetic signals, the original globalized information age will come to an end. Whatever network or form, basically, they will disappear after the first desolation spreads. Instead, a new communication network is born based on the friend system of the God-forsaken game. And the Skysnake organization in North America was formally established in this situation. Don't think about it so much for now. Qinfeng shook his head. Anyway, the place where he extracted the Pure Soul land in reality was the mild area until the end of the last life. It can be imagined that when the first desolation spreads, someone will definitely come to the beach where the Pure Soul land is located and try to build a home here. But it's a pity. Before that, Qinfeng will extract the hiding place of the Evil Spirit Academy into reality, and it will cover the Pure Soul land. We still have to make the defense of the Evil Spirit Academy more solid, although in the game, this Evil Spirit Academy is built in a volcanic area, with magma as energy, which can ensure the infinite recovery of the energy of the defense barrier. But it's not so good when it is extracted into reality. Qinfeng could only use a more advanced divine book to strengthen the defensive barrier of the Evil Spirit Academy. Fortunately, there is the Big Eye, and with its counterattack barrier, it is enough to ensure that the Evil Spirit Academy can stand firm in reality. At this time, after Qinfeng completed his 4th career advancement, he rode Osiris and flew back to the ruins of the Magic City leisurely, intending to visit the Guanggang ruins. He remembered that there was a relatively close high-level divine power tower outside the Guanggang ruin. After completing the challenge of that divine power tower, you can buy 5 new divine books. Defensive barrier. Teleportation Array, Light and Shadow Crystal, Teleportation Stone, and Life Source Array. It can basically meet Qinfeng's needs at this stage. The so-called Life Source Array is a must for future survival. As long as there is a Life Source Array in the hiding place, life can be converted into various energy sources at a higher ratio. For example, electrical energy, thermal energy, light energy, etc. It can even connect to the defensive barrier of the hideout. Once the normal hideout defense barrier is attacked, it can use 1 day of life to replenish 1,000 durability. But with the Life Source Array, the consumption is reduced by dozens or even hundreds of times. At that time, 1 day of life can replenish tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of durability. The specific amount depends on the material and quality of the Life Source Array. The better the quality of the array foundation, the more difficult it is. And it cannot be obtained through the Book of God. Either buy it from the NPC in the game, the price is extremely expensive, or you can try your luck in the turbulent and violent areas of the real Blue Star. Of course, in the current environment of Blue Star, there are no high-quality Magic Circle cornerstones. If you really want to get it right in one go, you have to find an NPC to buy the real good stuff. Then the lifespan consumed is calculated in units of 10,000 years. So, before Qinfeng went to the Guanggang ruins, he opened his friend list and had a private chat with Yiluyan. Asked her if there were any Jade or Diamond bosses he could help fight them. The result? It really made Qinfeng a little surprised. Yiluyan. Well, Master, it's like this for the Jade level boss. We have already planned to open up the wasteland ourselves. We can't keep bothering you. Otherwise, no one will get any training. As for the Diamond boss, we do have news, but the boss is a bit weird. I'm not sure if you can beat it. Qinfeng was not surprised when he heard it, although the Jade level boss is almost impossible to conquer for most players. But for some top team, they can still give it a try. The official idea is probably to train some top teams more. If they always rely on Qinfeng, they themselves will not be at ease. A bit weird Diamond boss? Qinfeng was a little curious. Why is it weird? To be honest, now he feels that there is no Diamond boss in this game that he can't beat. Although he hasn't won the first kill of the epic boss, the Diamond boss has long been completely non-threatening in Qinfeng's eyes. But there are few bosses of this level, and it is not easy for Qinfeng to find a target if he wants to kill it. Yiluyan said a little embarrassedly. That boss is a woman, but she is particularly charming to men. We have hundreds of male players in Guanggang who have been seduced by her and become her running dogs. Is there such a thing? Qinfeng was stunned. A wisp of smoke? Yes. We didn't know it at first, until our team passed by only Brother Jia and I escaped. And the other 4 male teammates were charmed. You see, if you feel unsure, then forget it. Good guy. A wisp of smoke is not a man. It's normal for him to escape. Brother G can also escape. It can be seen that this guy really doesn't like girls. It's okay. Give me the coordinates. I'll go over and take a look later. Qinfeng thought about it carefully. I didn't find any memory related to this matter, but theoretically speaking, even in the upper affixes, there is no affix like charm. It can make people die hard and become a running dog. This involves the level of order and even rules. Go back and ask Big Eyes if this boss is defeated. The evolution points will be enough for 3,000 points, and the Abyss Withering Curse can be evolved to the ancient level. Qinfeng made a decision and flew back to the Evil Spirit Academy immediately. It was at this time. It was more than 1,000 kilometers northeast of the ruins of the Demon City. The young summoner summoned his men along the way to lure the epic boss, the Great Disaster Hades, and was getting closer and closer to the ruins of the Demon City. Almost, Shadow. Are you really that strong? Kill an epic boss and let me see it. The 20-meter tall skeleton that he lured over was dragging a huge bone sword and sneered faintly. In his skeleton's eye sockets, a faint black fire burned for a long time. If you want to leave this hellhole, you must survive until 10 years later. At present, I am only a level 30 epic boss, and I can't hold on for that long. When all the players of the Blue Star Civilization reach level 30, I will have no way out. The only way is to take this opportunity to slaughter the players and break through to the legendary level, mythical level, or even the ancient level. Fortunately, my initial level is level 30, so I can reach the mild area, otherwise there would be no such opportunity. As a boss, although there is self-awareness, it also needs to abide by the rules set by the godforsaken game. So, the black fire peoples of the Great Disaster Pluto looked into the distance. Blue Star human players, I hope my arrival can bring you surprises. Just then, Qinfeng rode Osiris and flew back to the Evil Spirit Academy. Just when he was about to find Big Eyes to ask about the situation of the boss in Guanggang, Qinfeng suddenly sneezed. Achoo! Is it strange that I can sneeze with this body type? Is someone trying to give me warmth? The young summoner lured the Great Disaster Hades along the way. At present, since the distance is still far, no players have discovered it along the way. 500 kilometers away, it is basically a violent area with a life flow rate of 100 times. Except for the Pathfinders sent by the official and some guilds, no players will run that far. And those Pathfinders are scattered in all directions. And it is not so lucky to meet the Great Disaster Hades. However, When the great disaster Hades is led to the 500-kilometer range of the ruins of the Magic City, it is destined to be discovered by other players. At this time, Xinfeng naturally didn't know that there would be a gift delivered to his door. He returned to the Evil Spirit Academy and found the Eye of Knowledge. Aristotle, who was playing mahjong with Lao Jiangtu and others, Xinfeng learned. Since playing 5 consecutive games with this big-eyed man and losing all of them, Lao Jiangtu and his friends have learned from their mistakes and decided not to be controlled by an NPC like this. So, they directly taught a Sichuan mahjong. Being good at chess doesn't mean you're good at mahjong, right? After all, no matter how accurate the calculation is, it still depends on a little bit of luck, and Big Eyes is not picky. He plays whatever he can find, and he's even very curious about mahjong. At this time, Big Eyes is in its prime. Of course, when Qinfeng came back and called it, it flew to Qinfeng. President, are you going to tell me what your talent is? Its crisp and excited childish voice came out. What are you dreaming about in broad daylight? Qinfeng coughed, directly chose the advanced service, and asked the question. There's a diamond boss that can charm players to do things for her and help her kill monsters everywhere. And the lifespan collected will be handed over voluntarily. What kind of ability is that? Hearing Qinfeng's words, the Eye of Knowledge was a little disappointed, but it was not in a hurry. After all, it has lived for too long. It has plenty of time to waste with Qinfeng. No matter what, sooner or later it will know what Qinfeng's talent is. As for Qinfeng's question, it blinked its golden pupils, and there seemed to be a lot of data turbulence in its eyes. About 3 seconds later, Qinfeng received a system prompt. It will take 25 years of life to consult this question. Are you sure? Man. That's all. Qinfeng directly chose to consult. Your NPC subordinate, Eye of Knowledge Aristotle, collected 25 years of life through information consulting services, according to the 50% tax rate. You have obtained 5 years of life, which has been deposited into the guild life pool. It's still the familiar 50% tax rate. It feels so good to get a 50% discount. Qinfeng sighed slightly. Then he heard Big Eyes answer his question. This situation comes from the influence of order or rules. Considering the comprehensive boss level, there is a 99% chance that the diamond level boss will be affected by the cursed slate of the goddess of extreme love. The cursed slate created by the goddess of extreme love, Elenas, has the power of charming order, which can affect all male human creatures who love women. If you kill the affected boss, you will get the cursed slate of the goddess of extreme love. But, President, as a man, you will be restricted to a large extent by the power of charming order. Please carefully consider whether to participate in the boss strategy. Is it really the power of order? When Qinfeng heard Big Eye's answer, he not only did not feel wrong, but was relieved and had a feeling of anticipation. Ancient God Slate. And it is another cursed slate. Under normal circumstances, this boss must only be attacked by a team of women, because as long as a man approaches, he will be affected by the power of order attached to the cursed slate and become a G-licker or even a slave controlled by it. But in the last life, although few players on Blue Star can master order, many of them have obtained divine weapons. Similar order forces in the wild are often encountered, and these order forces can be offset by consuming divinity. You must note that the essence of order is the rules set by the gods for mortals to follow. It is naturally ineffective for gods, and even players with divine weapons can evade and resist. In contrast, the higher level rules are the cosmic principles that even gods need to follow. Of course, that level is too high. At present, Qinfeng can't quite imagine that kind of power. Under normal circumstances, it is impossible for players at this stage to obtain divine weapons. After all, the lowest end divine weapons are myths. Level. But I have the Blade of Judgment now. The current divinity limit of the Blade of Judgment is 51 points. First consume 510 years of life to fill up the divinity. 51 points of divinity upper limit is already quite high. You should know that the mythical divine weapon Qinfeng obtained in his previous life only has a divinity upper limit of 66 points. As long as you are equipped with the divine weapon, you can consume divinity to resist when you encounter the influence of the power of order. The stronger the power of order, the greater the impact on divinity, and the more divinity is needed to offset it. As time goes by, more and more divinity will be consumed to offset the impact of order. However, this diamond level boss, even if it is affected by the cursed slate, its order power will not be very strong as long as it is order. It is completely unsolvable for ordinary players. But Qinfeng still has a way to deal with it, although it will consume a certain amount of divinity, and divinity is life. But as long as you kill the diamond level boss directly, it will not consume much. At this time, Qinfeng found that Big Eyes really has a lot of knowledge reserves, if you ask it directly. What boss is refreshed or where it appears? It really doesn't know, but it should know the possible refresh environments of most bosses. Through exploration, Qinfeng slowly learned the correct use of the Big Eyes. So he spent another 30 years of his life and consulted about the information of the epic bloodline boss, Deathwing Angel. Deathwing Angel is an epic bloodline boss established under the rules of the God Abandoned game. This boss comes from the Deathwing Celestial clan in the God Abandoned game to which each civilization belongs. The number of Deathwing Celestial clan initially deployed does not exceed 10. The refresh conditions of this boss. It is necessary to sacrifice Deathwing Feather in a space deeper than 999 meters underground underground and in complete darkness to summon the Deathwing Angel. The summoned Deathwing Angel has a minimum level of 30. If the player level is higher, it will be consistent with the player level. Deathwing Feather. Epic item. There is a probability of obtaining it in the Temple of Faith of the Goddess of Death. A series of information about the Deathwing Angel came to him. Qinfeng was a little speechless after reading these conditions. These materials let him know how the Deathwing Angel was created. In his previous life, he only knew that there was an epic bloodline called the Deathwing Angel, but he didn't know how it was created. I didn't expect it to be so complicated. But the key is, after reading all this, I still don't know where to find this Deathwing Feather. The key question is, where will the Temple of Faith of the Goddess of Death be created? Qinfeng found that this thing felt a bit like a nesting doll. He reluctantly spent another 30 years of his life to consult Big Eyes about the information about the Temple of Faith of the Goddess of Death. Big Eyes is very powerful and has done enough research on the Temple of Faith of the Goddess of Death. A large number of deaths in a short period of time will attract the gaze of the Goddess of Death in the real area where the death toll reaches 100. 1,000 within 24 hours. The corresponding game area will have the Temple of Faith of the Goddess of Death. Temple entry conditions. The number of innocent players killed in the game has reached more than 2,000. The information is indeed very detailed. Qinfeng glanced at his panel. The number of innocent players killed has reached more than 300, which is fully qualified to enter this Temple of Faith of the Goddess of Death. Then, he only needs to find a real area where the death toll reaches 100. He was on within 24 hours. 100,000 is not a small number. Even after the advent of the God-abandoned game, there has not yet been an area that meets the conditions. But in Qinfeng's memory, there is a place that should appear soon. That is the Sakura country after the first desolation spread. Otherwise, why do you say that the Sakura country is unlucky? In the last life, there were rumors that the incident was still related to Ichiro Tashima, but this news has not been confirmed, and Ichiro Tashima himself firmly denied it, saying that it was a false accusation and persecution against him by people with ulterior motives. As for the specific situation, Qinfeng was far away in Daxia. Of course he didn't know, but this time, Qinfeng might have to make a trip. As long as there is relevant news, he can set off to find the Temple of Faith of the Goddess of Death. At that time, Huanfeng must have reached level 30 and could teleport across countries. Moreover, at that time, I had passed the challenge of the Advanced Divine Power Tower, and I could choose to teleport in the Evil Spirit Academy. It consumed less life. Qinfeng put this matter on the to-do list, then set off for Guanggang. Watching Qinfeng leave, the big golden eyes of the Eye of Knowledge were a little worried. President, you don't want to deal with the boss cursed by the goddess of extreme love, do you? If this is enchanted, won't our guild exist in name only? It naturally knows that the divine weapon can resist the erosion and influence of the power of order. But how could it know that the weapon in Qinfeng's hand is the top divine weapon? Guanggang Ruins. What? Shadow is really going to go there. No. When they heard that Shadow was coming to deal with the diamond boss that could enchant men, many people on the Guanggang official side were shocked. Even the young and beautiful woman, a wisp of smoke, was a little anxious. After all, she was the person who had the most contact with Shadow on the Guanggang side, and she knew clearly how important Shadow's strength was to the official. If Shadow hadn't helped to kill several emerald-level bosses in Guanggang, the strength of the top players in Guanggang, including Yiluyan herself, would definitely be halved. What if Shadow went to deal with the diamond boss and something went wrong? Wouldn't it collapse all at once? Yiluyan frowned slightly. There are now more than 100 people who were completely bewitched by the boss, because they mistakenly entered that area. They didn't even have time to react. Now those more than 100 players have become puppet servants of the boss. Not only do they obey her orders, but they also go out to kill monsters and hand over the life they have killed to the boss. The most important thing is that they are completely conscious. They even know to go offline to eat, and they know their relatives. And they can chat with friends through the friend system. Although the chat content has only obsessed their goddess, it can be seen that their basic cognition is still there. This weird situation left the Guanggang official at a loss. The reason they contacted Qinfeng was actually just to ask if there was any proper solution. Even if Qinfeng didn't come, they wouldn't blackmail Qinfeng morally. After all, this boss was too weird and bizarre. If Qinfeng really fell into the control of the boss, that would be a real disaster. In the crowd, a fat priest player said weakly, "How about, let Shadow not come? No matter how strong Shadow is, he is still a man. Letting him deal with the diamond boss is like a sheep walking into a tiger's mouth." This priest was the bad boy Aguang who had contacted Qinfeng before. A fat white owl landed on his shoulder, which looked quite funny, and gave people a feeling of having no fighting power at all. Hearing this, a tall and mighty muscular man walked out of the crowd and laughed. "I am also a man. How can I not? This man is the only hidden profession muscle warrior, with a strong man-on-man talent. Brother Jian." When he stood up, everyone looked at him with a little subtlety in their eyes. Brother G patted his chest expectantly. You should all know Shadow's style of doing things, as long as he takes action. He must be absolutely sure. It is very likely that Shadow and I are the same kind of people. Hearing this, everyone in the field was stunned. Yes, why didn't I think of it? Yiluyan's beautiful eyes lit up, a little happy, but soon froze in place. Wait, you mean Shadow, that's right. Brother G laughed. If he can really face the boss directly, he must be the same as me. Otherwise, how could he do it? For a while, the dreams of many girls in the field were shattered. Their idol Shadow turned out to be impossible. Absolutely impossible. Yiluyan suddenly thought of something. She frowned and said, "Haven't you heard recently? There is news on the forum that there are only 2 people in the Shadow Guild, in addition to Shadow. The other one is also an assassin, and she is a beauty. It is said that Shadow and the beautiful assassin named Ghost are a pair." As soon as this was said, everyone became suspicious. Yes, they did hear this news, although it may not be accurate. But Shadow and the Ghost are indeed in the Shadow Guild. Then the question is, Yiluyan was confused. What on earth is Shadow? This young and beautiful woman was a little tearful, feeling that everything was not good. If Shadow likes girls, doesn't that mean that someone has already taken the lead? And if Shadow is the same as Brother G, it would be even more unacceptable. At this time, Hinfeng didn't know what the Guanggang officials were discussing. When he wrote Osiris to teleport over, he flew over to gather according to the coordinates given by Yiluyan. As usual, only Yiluyan appeared in front of Qinfeng. "Master, you are here. Are you really going?" Yiluyan looked at Qinfeng with a pair of beautiful eyes, and her expression seemed a little difficult. "Go." Hinfeng nodded and said, "Don't worry. I have a way to resist the boss's charm for a while." Hearing Qinfeng's word, Yiluyan finally breathed a sigh of relief. She pursed her lips, her beautiful eyes watery. "So that's how it is. You are indeed the Shadow God," I said. "The god can't be—" When she said this, she suddenly felt something was wrong and shut up immediately. "Impossible what?" Qinfeng looked at her with a little confusion. "I mean, the master can't be a reckless man." Yiluyan immediately laughed. He must have a way to come to help. There is nothing wrong with this, but Qinfeng always feels that something is wrong. He didn't think about it carefully, and let Yiluyan get on the dragon while saying, "By the way, in order to avoid trouble later, I need you to do a small favor." Yiluyan was a little surprised. All along, she and Qinfeng went out to fight boss and watch the show. This is the first time that Qinfeng told her that he needed her help. "You say?" Yiluyan was very respectful. "You told me before that there are already more than 100 people over there who have been charmed," Qinfeng said. "If they want to kill me, I will definitely not show mercy. But after all, they are also victims, so you can lead them away first, so that when I kill the boss in seconds, I won't accidentally hurt them." Hearing Qinfeng's words, Yiluyan smiled and nodded. "Okay, no problem. I will take them all away when the time comes." For a moment, she was touched. Looking at Qinfeng's eyes, there was more admiration. Originally, judging from the character of this great god, he should be cold and ruthless. But I didn't expect that he could think of this level. But what she didn't know was, if it was just a simple killing of those people once, Qinfeng really didn't care. But the key is, friends who often kill Diamond Boss in seconds know that there is only one way to skip the invincible stage of Diamond Boss. That is to let the boss enter the state of the upper affix. For example, Nightmare, Whisper, Chaos. Qinfeng's method is to activate the Endless Nightmare state. Let the boss enter the Nightmare state, so as to skip the invincible Bloodlock stage and kill the boss instantly. Once the Endless Nightmare is activated, he will add Nightmare gauges to the surrounding enemies every second. It only takes 3 seconds, and the surrounding players will fall into nightmares for several days. This is not what Qinfeng intended. After all, those players are basically all victims. There are also many official members, for example, Yiluyan's teammates, etc. According to Yiluyan's guidance, Osiris spread his wings and flew to the dark valley northwest of Guanggang ruins. On the way, Yiluyan asked tentatively, "By the way, Master, why didn't your wife come with you?" When this came out, Hinfeng was stunned. "My wife? There are more exciting things." Osiris was excited when he heard it. "What? The human assassin has a wife? Who? How come I don't know?" Yiluyan saw the situation and immediately knew what was going on. She covered her mouth and chuckled. "It seems to be a rumor. It's the assassin sister in your guild." A drop of cold sweat fell on Qinfeng's forehead. "She is my apprentice, Osiris. 6. You don't dare to admit it." "Right." Qinfeng slapped it on the head. "What do you hear her call me?" "Osiris. Teacher. This doesn't mean anything. I now know that Daxia's writing is profound and extensive. Teacher can be a teacher or a master." Qinfeng. "Nima?" Yiluyan. Oh. So while Osiris was cursing all the way, the two finally came to the Dark Valley where the Diamond Boss was. The boss's territory is ahead. Yiluyan was obviously a little nervous, pointing to a scorched land in the valley. "As long as you enter that area, you will be affected. And we can see the image of the Diamond Boss?" "Okay." Qinfeng nodded. "You are a girl. You will not be affected by the charm. I will leave Osiris to you. You will ride it and take those charmed players away in a while." Qinfeng is still looking forward to this Diamond Boss. After all, he has saved up equipment and skill books for so many days. As long as the drop of this Diamond Boss is not too bad, it can basically guarantee that Qinfeng can combine a new legendary assassin skill book and a legendary equipment. What's more, after killing this boss, you can also get a cursed slate of the Goddess of Extreme Love. This makes Qinfeng look forward to it even more. The Ancient God Slate. This is what he has always wanted to get, every Ancient God Slate. As long as the attributes are washed well, it is a transformation in combat power even for him. After speaking to Yiluyan, Qinfeng disappeared and planned to observe first. After all, he didn't know the exact location of the boss. Once he entered the boss, If he wants to enter the territory of the boss, he must rush to the boss as fast as possible and kill the boss instantly. Otherwise, every second he stays there will consume his divinity, and when Qinfeng became invisible, Osiris did not continue to make a fuss. He looked vigilantly at the dark valley ahead and keenly noticed the difference in the valley. The power of order. The green light in Osiris' pupils exuded a chill. That was a power that he, as an epic boss, could not touch. If players want to master order, they must first obtain divine weapons and then integrate divinity into themselves. As a boss, Osiris needs to advance to the mythical level to have a slight possibility of contacting divinity. After mastering divinity, there is a slight possibility to build his own power of order. Of course, now Osiris has become a mount. If it wants to master the order, it needs some special ways, and the conventional ways are no longer feasible. The female dinosaur who claims to be a goddess in front. Get out of here. At this moment, a wisp of smoke stood on top of Osiris' head and shouted towards the valley. Then, a perfect human-shaped female figure was projected above the dark valley. The human-shaped woman looked extremely indifferent, with revealing clothes, and looked at a wisp of smoke from a distance. Then, shouts of men were heard from all around the valley. One after another, male players, all with red eyes, holding various weapons, ran out from the surroundings and chased after a wisp of smoke. Fuck! She actually insulted our goddess. She's dead. How dare she say the goddess is a dinosaur? I won't let her go. She looks like a pig, and she dares to look down on the goddess? Kill her. Kill her. A group of people rushed over with red eyes, staring at a wisp of smoke. There were even players of the mage and shooter profession who launched skill attacks at a wisp of smoke from a distance. It can be seen that they did maintain a certain degree of mental state, and even other aspects were no different from normal people. The only change was that they became the brainless fans of the Diamond Boss, or the G-licking slaves. It was at this time Qinfeng felt a slight insect chirping in the valley. The insect chirping was rude and hoarse, and it sounded disgusting. It was obviously issuing instructions and controlling those male players. Found you. Qinfeng looked indifferently in the direction of the target. The Power Clown's sonic shoes started at full speed. Swish. Just as Qinfeng disappeared and stepped on the scorched earth, the system instantly sent a prompt. You have entered the Dark Valley. This area is a violent area. Life loss rate in the area, 100 times. You have been affected by the negative order and have automatically consumed divinity to resist the effect. Current divinity consumption rate, 1 point of second. For a moment, Qinfeng's heart was bleeding. In this area, if you want to avoid being enchanted, you have to consume 1 point of divinity per second. Fortunately, Qinfeng rushed forward at supersonic speed. In just a few seconds, he rushed out 2 or 3 kilometers and broke into a dark cave in the valley. Normal players, men, will be enchanted as long as they step into this place, and those who are not enchanted will be chased by the player puppets controlled by the boss. Qinfeng is still the first player to come to this cave. When he entered the cave, the first thing that caught his eye was a fat worm about 5 meters long. The worm's head was retracted into its body, revealing only 4 pairs of black eyes. Worm Queen Shavalunda Elv 24. Grade. Diamond grade. At this moment, even Qinfeng was shocked. This diamond boss that can project a perfect female figure as its external image is actually a fat worm, with the cursed slate of the goddess of extreme love. It actually has the ability to seduce human male players. If those male players knew that the goddess they worshipped like crazy was actually a worm, how would they feel? Of course, for Qinfeng, no matter what this diamond boss is, it doesn't matter. All he has to do is to kill it as quickly as possible. At this time, all the male players who were charmed by this diamond boss have gone out to hunt down Osirio and Yeluyan. The worm queen in front of him didn't know that there was an invisible and terrifying existence that came silently behind it. Get close and attack instantly. Robbery Master Hand. Qinfeng started with Robbery Master Hand directly. The 4-dimensional attributes suddenly soared. And strength, physique, agility, and spirit all increased by 300 or 400 points. In this state, Qinfeng's damage is higher, faster. Then, End Mark. Shadow of Killing. Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade. The Worm Queen felt that she was attacked before she could react, but what shocked her was that she moved her giant body and looked around. But she didn't see anyone, and she didn't even see any special effects of the attack. She could only feel that her health was decreasing rapidly, and that the 2 superordinate affixes of Nightmare and Peeling were being quickly stacked. Squeak. Suddenly, the Worm Queen made a sharp insect sound, and this insect sound was like the sound of nature to those enchanted male players, originally chasing a wisp of smoke. But when she heard this sound, she ran back to the cave as soon as possible. Goddess, my goddess, she was attacked. Go back, save the goddess. No matter who disrespects the goddess, I will cut them into pieces. The goddess is mine. Don't try to snatch it from me. A group of people rushed back, but unfortunately, their speed was too slow. In order to save the consumption of divinity, Qinfeng used his strongest means this time. After the 4th professional advancement, he launched no special effects on any attack. Whether it was a person or a skill, it was completely invisible. Even if the invisibility level of the special effect was only half, it was still nearly 30 levels of invisibility. It was not something that any boss at this level could see through. The same was true for a diamond level boss, truly invisible, and the 3 created Shadows of Killing allowed Qinfeng to stack up 100 combo points in just 1 second. Endless Nightmare. Activated. When this skill was activated, the Nightmare Black Fog that was supposed to cover the entire venue completely disappeared without a trace, and also became invisible. So, the Worm Queen only felt inexplicably that the Nightmare gauge on her body soared at a speed dozens of times faster, because Qinfeng instantly cooperated with the Shadow of Killing, released the Instant Shadow Slash, and burst out dozens of attacks in an instant, just 5 seconds after the battle began. The Nightmare gauge on the Worm Queen was directly stacked to 100%, and during this process, the Worm Queen, while chirping sharply, released various Earth Element skills, but it had no idea where the enemy was. It could only spit out Earth Yellow elemental energy in all directions. This is too outrageous. Too outrageous. Even Qinfeng was a little shocked. He watched the Worm Queen pouring skills in different directions, and he didn't even need to hide, because the opponent didn't know his direction at all. If it was before, the boss could still judge my position based on my attack special effects, and then release range skills. But now, I don't even have special effects? This means that Qinfeng's output environment is better, and the damage per second that can be hit in actual combat is higher. 5 seconds after the battle began, the Worm Queen was completely in a nightmare, and the sharp insect chirping broke out and spread to the surrounding. It was completely in a state of powerlessness and rolled in the cave. Now, my damage is completely overflowing. Blessing of Liberation. Scarlet Blade. It's just a diamond level boss. Apart from the influence of the enchanting order from the Ancient God's Stone Tablet, this boss is nothing special to Qinfeng. It's also a diamond level boss. At first, when he killed the Nightmare Hellflower, he needed to calculate the damage and pull the damage to the limit before he could skip the stage. Later, the Twin Butterfly Shadows and Skeleton Bishops basically played the Nightmare state and then killed them instantly without thinking. Now the Worm Queen is even more simple and crude. Enter the Nightmare in 5 seconds, and then within 1 second, the finishing move bursts out, and the invisible Scarlet Blade slashes out. All in all, it takes less than 7 seconds. This weird diamond level boss that troubled the Guanggung official was emptied of its health bar just like that. The most terrifying thing is that if there are other people here, they will see. The scene will be extremely weird because no one or anything appeared to attack the Worm Queen throughout the whole process. You can only see the Worm Queen's health bar constantly decreasing and deducting, and finally falling into a nightmare, and then the health bar disappears. At this time, Qinfeng looked at the attributes of the Judgment Blade in his hand. Divinity, 39 of 51. Not bad. It took a total of 12 seconds. Every second saved is 10 years of life saved. How could Qinfeng be willing to waste half a minute? At the same time when the Worm Queen was killed, Qinfeng could hear. Originally, a series of male players' cursing voices were coming from far and near, but in an instant, the world was quiet. When the boss died, the power from the stone slab dissipated. Those male players were finally no longer affected by the order. However, whether it can return to normal is uncertain. Different people have different personalities and react differently after the order power is eliminated. This naturally has nothing to do with Qinfeng. Qinfeng heard that some people stopped. Some people continued to rush to the cave. He didn't care. He first released his greedy hand towards the boss and took away all the spoils. Then, he passed the fat corpse of the Worm Queen and walked towards a stone wall in the cave. On the stone wall, there was a pink ancient god slate inlaid, surrounded by pink light, which looked weird and fascinating. In order to avoid danger, Qinfeng changed to the Believer pendant and summoned the Devout Believer to take the ancient god slate. Fortunately, everything went well. After the Devout Believer came back, Qinfeng took the ancient god slate and put it in his pocket. Qinfeng didn't pay any attention to the diamond boss, who was already a corpse. In fact, he originally had the idea to try to pull some bosses into the Judgment Land for trial. After all, Blue Star players are very weak at this stage, and the benefits of trial are not high. But these bosses are pretty good, at least much stronger than the current Blue Star players. Unfortunately, after consulting Ashasas, he learned that even diamond level bosses had part of their intelligence wiped out when they obtained the boss template, resulting in them not being complete intelligent life forms. So it is impossible to launch a trial on monsters below the epic level, but if it is an epic level monster, then its strength is too strong, and the judgment requires too much divinity, and it is not suitable for the current trial. So, Qinfeng had to give up. At this time, Qinfeng walked towards the entrance of the cave while checking the spoils thrown into the greedy space. Hey, 2 assassin skill books came out directly. You can combine a legendary skill book. Qinfeng showed joy on his face. He had accumulated 8 epic assassin skill books before. Now I have collected 10 books. Synthesize. You have obtained Thousand Blades Breaker Legendary Assassin Skill Book. At Thousand Blades Legendary Assassin Skill. Continuously slash the fan-shaped area within 1 meter in front of the body, causing agility of 50 damage, and each damage adds 1 until 100 physical attack power. Cooldown 8-1. 71 seconds. Required level 25. 1000 blades. The more times the damage is done, the lower the damage. The single damage is 3 of number of damages. Qinfeng looked at the skill book in his hand and was a little surprised. This skill, it's a bit fierce. It looks like an ordinary damage skill, but my current agility attribute is usually nearly 1300 points. If the Thief Stealer steals the attributes of the boss in battle, the agility will even go straight to 2000 points. Isn't this? Every time 1000 Blades is released, it will cause nearly 40 damages. What kind of damage frequency is this? Qinfeng cancelled the invisibility, holding the Judgment Blade, and released 1000 blades directly into the air. Then he saw the dagger in his hand suddenly burst out nearly 40 blade lights, slashing in the air within 1 meter in front of him. These blade lights seemed plain and unpretentious, but the number of blade lights condensed in that instant was chilling. Super high attack frequency. It can be used to stack combo points at the fastest speed, and break the target's damage-free shield at the fastest speed. The most important thing, of course, is to be able to stack the upper affix scale to the target more quickly. Qinfeng had no doubt. If there was another diamond level boss, after he activated the Endless Nightmare, he only needed Shadow of Slaughter, 1000 blades breaking, to instantly put the boss into a nightmare state. After all, with the help of Shadow of Slaughter, Qinfeng's use of one skill was equivalent to 4 times of the same skill. In other words, nearly 160 attacks in an instant. Wow. Once you learn this skill, it will take less than 3 seconds to kill the Worm Queen, although the single damage of 1000 blade break has been weakened. It does not affect this as a late-stage magic skill, who can withstand 30 or 40 attacks instantly. If the number of damage is 40 times, the single damage will be weakened to 3 of 40, about 5%. The total damage is 3 times the basic damage, and this is still the case without evolution. Qinfeng glanced at the attribute panel after killing the diamond boss Worm Queen. The evolution points he accumulated finally reached 3,255 points, of which 3,000 points are naturally used to evolve Abyss Withering Curse. This has been planned for a long time and can't be delayed any longer, so this 1000 blade break can only evolve once first, and I'm sorry for the time being. You have consumed 100 evolution points, and there are 3,155 points left. 1000 Blades Legend Arrive Myth. Assassin skill. Continuously slash the fan-shaped area within 1 meter in front of you to cause agility of 50 damage, and each damage adds 1 in 1200 arrive at 1,600 physical attack power. And 1000 Blades. Single damage is 3 arrives of number of damages. Mythic level new effect. If all slashes hit the target's weak points, your weak point attack multiplier plus 2 lasts for 8 seconds. Legendary level evolved to mythical level. This skill has an increased additional attack, and the single damage is doubled, and the total damage is doubled. If there are 40 damages in total, each damage will be 15% of the original, and as long as all the slashes hit the target's weak points. My weak point attack multiplier will also skyrocket. Originally, the player's initial weak point attack multiplier was 1. Qinfeng has Gift of Liberation, which doubles the weak point attack multiplier to 3. If you hit the target with 1000 blades breaking, the weak point attack multiplier will increase to 5, equivalent to a 6% increase in total weak point damage. The original weak point damage of 1 million can now be caused by 6 million. It's worthy of being an initial legendary skill. Qinfeng can only say that compared with this skill. The instant Shadow Slash can be invisible and can be displaced, and both the total damage and the number of damage are blown to pieces. Of course, it can't be said that invisibility and displacement are useless. It can only be said that the two skills have their own advantages and disadvantages and are suitable for different situations. After learning 1000 Blade Break, this skill became his main output method, and even its panel damage was much higher than the finishing move of Scarlet Blade. The only flaw was that the single damage of 1000 Blade Break was too low. If the target's damage resistance attribute was relatively high, then the total damage would be greatly discounted. Then, Qinfeng opened the greedy space again and looked at the brand new stone tablet thrown into the greedy space. Cursed stone tablet of the extremely beloved goddess. This stone tablet contains the curse power from the extremely beloved goddess Elenus. Active use. Add a curse to any equipment. The curse will randomly provide a gain affix based on the equipment and your professional characteristics, but it will also gain a negative affix, a cursed stone tablet that Qinfeng loves the most. When this thing falls into the hands of the player, the original power of order dissipates. Only the function of cursing equipment remains, but this function has already made Qinfeng's combat power soar. He opened the equipment interface and cursed the other dagger in his hand. You have added the Curse of Elenus to the Killing Starblade, maker of Tyrone III. Curse of Elenus. Benefit affix, stripping upper level plus 122. 8. Negative affix. Your other upper level affixes will become invalid. Do you want to keep this curse? Yes of no. Qinfeng was a little embarrassed. The effect of this curse is a bit outrageous. Although the stripping affix of 122, 8 is added. Other upper level affixes will become invalid. Isn't this hurting the enemy 100 times and hurting yourself 1,000 times? Of course, if it is a team collaboration. One of the players in the team carries this effect, then he can exist as a special stripping player. A team with several stripping players will be more likely to restrain the upper level affix of the boss in the boss battle. It's a pity that I'm a lone wolf. Qinfeng shook his head and chose no. He was not in a hurry. Washing the Ancient God Slate is a long-lasting process. Basically, you can wash it once you kill 300 monsters of the same level, so you can't rush it. Then, Qianfeng merged into the darkness and re-entered the invisible state. He walked out of the cave. Soon, he saw several male players walking towards the cave in 2 steps. Fuck you. Get out of the way. The goddess is mine. It's really disgusting. Who are you to compete with me for a woman? Stop arguing. The most urgent thing is to save the girl first. They cursed and pushed each other. There were also male players who followed silently, with an anxious look on their faces. Obviously worried about the goddess, Qianfeng passed by silently, although the power of order has dissipated. But, sure enough, there are still crazy people. No matter what, the memories of these male players being enchanted will be retained. Some people are just licking G by nature, so even now, they still won't recognize the reality. The difference is that before they were willing to lick with others, now there is exclusivity. They firmly believed that the goddess they saw was real. Some people couldn't accept the reality and wanted to see what the goddess was like. After all, for this goddess, many of them made actions that they themselves could not accept. Not surprisingly, soon, not long after Qianfeng left the cave, he heard a burst of fuck curses from behind him, accompanied by the sound of vomiting. When Qianfeng came out of the valley, he saw another group of male players with extremely ugly faces gathered together. Each of them was in doubt. It's outrageous. I'm obviously a married man. How could I be a dog for another woman here? Brother, I remember your wife seemed to come to you. You said your wife is not as good as the goddess. How could I do this? Brother, you're still good. The girlfriend of the brother next to him came to him and was chopped into 8 pieces by him. These male players were very keenly aware that something was wrong. They can be sure. They were affected by some kind of power. And in this state, they actually willingly did something that was against their conscience. For example, some players' wives and girlfriends came to find them. As a result, they were insulted and even killed by them. They recalled that they were willing to dedicate their entire lives to the goddess, and they communicated with each other and found that the goddess they saw looked different. Some are sexy queens, some are baby-faced Lolita, depending on their different personalities. They will see the female image that best suits their aesthetics. After being enchanted, they even team up to go out and kill monsters together, very harmoniously, just to dedicate the life they killed to the goddess. No doubt, under normal circumstances, most players would not do this. So after the boss died, these players woke up, felt scared, and reflexively wanted to escape from this weird place. There are also a few players who are people who would do such thing, so they would return to the cave to confirm. Unexpectedly, they saw a scene that they will never forget when they saw the fat worm body of the Worm Queen. They were afraid that they would even vomit their childhood New Year's Eve dinner. Is this a goddess? They licked it for a whole day, or even 2 days. Hey, why are you back again? At this time, the plump young woman, Yiluyan, who was riding Osiris alone, was planning to take the group of players for a walk, but unexpectedly, Osiris took her back not long after the start. Osiris, the matter is settled. Why don't you come back to hang around? A wisp of smoke was stunned. So fast. It's only been more than 10 seconds. Osiris chuckled. Why? The human assassin is too fast? Are you dissatisfied? A wisp of smoke was speechless. Damn dragon, you are asking for a fight. How can you be so dirty? I even doubt whether you are raised by a great god, Osiris said confidently. A red man is red. A black man is black. A dirty man is dirty? Is there a possibility that I learned it from human assassins? A wisp of smoke. Osiris struck while the iron was hot. So, there is an old saying in Daxia. If a woman chases a man, she will be able to catch him. As long as you take the initiative, the human assassin will not refuse. Just one small step, and you can get the man back. A wisp of smoke? I don't believe you. That's what she said. But the young and plump woman still blushed a little, and secretly spat. This dragon is too frivolous. Could it be? Is Shadow God really like this? In any case, Yiluyan shook her head and put these strange thoughts behind her. Although she was shocked by the speed at which Qianfeng solved the diamond boss, it was even faster than she thought. But she was more concerned about the situation of her 4 teammates, especially one of the fighters codenamed Bang Bang 2 Punches. This guy is as his name suggests. When he was charmed, his wife came to find him, but was directly beaten away by his Bang Bang 2 Punches, and left a sentence, "Who are you? Dare to compete with my goddess? Divorce." This made Yiluyan very worried about this guy's current mental state. This is the tank profession of her team, and also a strong man ranked in Guanggang. Soon, Osiris carried Yiluyan and flew to the vicinity of the group of male players who were looking at each other in dismay. The body of the giant bonesword pterosaur fell from the sky, making those male players recall. Just now, weren't they attracted by this giant dragon? Wait, isn't this Dragon Shadow's? Oh, it really is. I was so excited just now that I only saw the woman on the dragon's back. So it was Shadow who appeared and rescued us. Woo. Sister Yan. Where is my wife? How could I do such a thing? I'm dead. Send me to the crematorium quickly. It's urgent. The sooner I die, the sooner I will be reborn. A group of people cried bitterly. Yiluyan contacted the official while informing the players present of the situation. Some players did not facing the others. They quietly ran away one by one. For a moment, the field was in chaos. There were also many friends and relatives who were waiting outside the valley, seeing this situation. They also ran out. Damn, are you awake? Thanks to Shadow. You are worthy of being the world's #1 god. Old thing. You are already old. Why are you still like those young people? How come you are old, but your heart is not old? Get out. Don't touch me. You are not clean. Don't you want a divorce? Isn't she inferior to your goddess? Let's go. Divorce. I think you are not determined, so you will be charmed? How come Shadow is fine? Of course, many female players said so. But since they came here, it means that they still care about their men and know what they have encountered. After all, there is a wisp of smoke and others who have explained on behalf of the official, the status and all behaviors of these male players are not what they think, but are affected by mysterious forces. Many female players cried, tears welling up in their eyes. They looked at the men who had returned to normal and didn't know whether they should forgive them or not. If they didn't forgive them, it would seem like they were unreasonable. If they forgave them, they couldn't get over it. The key is still, when those male players were enchanted, they still had self-awareness and knew their girlfriends of wives. If they really didn't know them, they would be more accepting, seeing this extremely complicated situation. Most of the male players in the field wiped their cold sweats and felt extremely fortunate. Fortunately, I don't have a girlfriend or a wife, but they were originally fortunate. Thinking about it, I felt like crying. What's going on? Others have wives who come to find them when they get into trouble, but they have been enchanted for a day or two, and no one cares about them. Rem, looking at the chaotic scene. Iluyan's mood was not much better at all. The appearance of this incident made her more aware. The advent of this godforsaken game is definitely not what some people think. A way to eternal life for the humans of Blue Star. It can fascinate people soberly. This power is too terrifying. How many people's lives will be destroyed this time? Also, the Shadow God can actually resist this power? How much does he know about this godforsaken game? Yiyan just had such a thought. Qinfeng had already passed by invisibly and jumped towards Osario's back, soaring and taking off. Many people around were startled, and they looked and found that it was the Bone Sword Pterosaur that flew away. For a moment, Yiyan felt a little lost. She thought about it, opened the friend list, and chatted with Qinfeng privately. Oh, Master, we want to know the information about this incident. Can we pay to buy it? Soon, Qinfeng replied. Forget about paying. This is the power called Order. As for my ability to resist, it is because of some advanced game props. Don't worry, this kind of power is rarely encountered at this stage. Now that you mentioned it, I thought of something. I just heard near the teleportation array that the official got a phoenix egg in the ruins of Haicheng. I have read the records that the phoenix egg in the godforsaken game is likely to cause disasters. I think it is best to carefully dispose of the phoenix egg and not leave it in the ruins. You can't control this thing at the moment. When saying this, Qinfeng was also a little emotional. It seems that the history of this life has been changed. In the previous life, the phoenix egg was not obtained by the official, but by another large guild in Haicheng. But in this life, it was obtained by the official. Obviously, even though they were far away in Haicheng, they also benefited from Qinfeng's cooperation with the official. Mostly, Guanggang sold the equipment Qinfeng helped to obtain to Haicheng, which strengthened the strength of Haicheng officials. Since it is official stuff, it is not easy to rob it directly. Let's persuade them first. Qinfeng shook his head. If the other party listened to the advice, then the disaster of Haicheng in the last life would not have happened. And Qinfeng could also find another way to get the phoenix egg. But if they don't listen to the advice, let's talk about it later. Qinfeng was too lazy to think about it. He turned his attention back to his skill list. There are more than 3 Zhouzen evolution points left, which can be used to evolve the Abyss Withering Curse. Heaven and Earth! Bless me to remove that negative. Qinfeng's Abyss Curse vase has been waiting in the greedy space for a long time. When he gave the order to evolve the skill, he immediately looked at his ancient new increase. The effect, newly added effect of the ancient level, negative effects are cancelled. You will not be sucked into the abyss by the Abyss Curse vase due to this skill. See this effect. Qinfeng's eyes lit up. Awesome. Comfortable. Vase. Come. Qinfeng laughed and took out the Abyss Curse vase.